When you were at school, there were those things that you always really aspired to. Do you remember prefect and head boy or head girl? That really proved that you'd done something, you'd achieved something. Well, now, guess what? Those terms have become, well, the new 21st century word, woke. And guess what's happening at a school in the north of England? Hi, good morning, Neil Sean here in the heart of London. Lovely to see you today. And as ever, that is one of the breaking political stories coming out of London. As I often say here on the show, I find it baffling because these terms have been around for decades. And when you think about it and you study about it, if you went to school, you really did aspire, didn't you, to sort of get the acknowledgement of your head teacher, the headmaster who noticed whether you'd done well, whether that be in a writing thing, something for English literature, or maybe just adding up well, painting, something stuck on the wall, that type of thing. Forget all the sports, I was never very good at those, but of course lots of people were. And then if you did well, of course, you could become head boy or head girl. Well, according to Rachel Lucas, who runs an academy school in Bolton, up in the north of England, she feels that those terms are outdated and that people don't feel inclusive enough now, because if you call people like that, you're putting sort of gender alignment on that. And more importantly, you're making it not as welcoming for all. Now, as far as I'm aware, last time I looked, when you went to school, it was full of boys and girls. Am I wrong? Is that really what we're looking at now in the 21st century? Or have I got this wrong? What I find interesting is, once again, this is an academy. It's one of those things that was set up about 10 years ago to make sure, of course, that your young people, your possible grandchildren, or indeed your children, were educated to the highest order. But this 47-year-old Miss Lucas thinks differently. And apparently she's decided that she now wants them to be known as this. Rather than achieving the status of head boy or head girl so you don't offend anyone, now you'll be known as a general ambassador. I always thought that was the bloke that went round with the chocolates at that party, don't you? Do you remember that one? Ferrero Rocher. But on a serious note, how ridiculous, and is it any wonder when you think about it, that children are really confused? I mean, you can sound old-fashioned because when you look at pop music and the way they spell things now with kids with a Z and all that sort of stuff, you can sort of say, oh, it's not my generation. Totally understand that. But when you're asking children, and allegedly Miss Lucas has actually, put a vote out to the people that attend that particular academy, well, apparently they're all in agreement. Well, of course they are. It's their chance to change something. They feel they're relevant and they have an important role. That's the way life works when you're a child. It's up to the adults, I always believe, to make sure that you put on the right path, the correct path. Now, I don't see what it achieves whether you call somebody the head boy or a head girl. It's just a term that everybody knows. To be now known as an ambassador really is confusing, but as ever, in this 21st century woke world, seemingly it's not necessarily the lunatics that are running the asylums. But if you want my advice, perhaps some of those head teachers need re-looking at and rethinking as to who is actually teaching your children. Let me know as ever what you think to this particular story. Am I right or am I wrong? Or should we not care? But is there really this, the tip of the iceberg, which could come next in what they call this free-thinking, brand new education system? Neil Sean as ever, in the very heart of London.